what's up, guys? So in this lesson, I wanted to highlight a very important aspect of music. And there's basically three main elements in music. There's rhythm, melody, and harmony. And I actually consider there to be two other categories. One being what I categorize as color, which is dynamics and timbre and the tone of your guitar, and many other elements that kind of go into that category. And then form. So for instance, like the 12-bar blues is a specific form. But in this lesson, I wanted to highlight rhythm because it's an aspect of musicianship that a lot of guitar players don't, I think, really focus on enough, consider, and practice. So when you think about some of the most basic type of songs, the song that comes to mind is this song by the great piano player Dave Brubeck, and his song Take 5, where it goes like this. It's just two chords. It's just E flat minor 7 to B flat minor 7. If you just play those chords, it doesn't really sound like much. I mean, it sounds like two nice chords, but it doesn't really sound like much musically. So the thing that makes it sound musical and powerful and something that people can recognize, usually when I play this for people, they immediately know what it is. The thing that makes it all those things is the rhythm of it. The rhythm is what brings those chords to life. And there are, numerous examples of this. The classic rock riff. Sometimes I'll have students that are new to guitar and they'll kind of play it. They'll play the right notes in the right order, but it doesn't sound like it at all because they're missing this very important element, which is the rhythm of it. And it's, like I said, something that a lot of guitar players don't consider enough because we're usually so focused on finding the notes and fingerings and learning new techniques and new chord shapes and kind of all that stuff that is so easy to take away our attention from rhythm. So there are many ways to practice getting better at playing rhythm, but a very important part of expressing and articulating rhythms is the time. So to me, there are three sort of connected elements to this main element. So there's rhythm, there's time, and there's groove. And actually, I would put time before rhythm in a way. So time is the vertical placement. Or, for instance, if you're playing with a metronome, then the metronome will click on each of the beats, which is your vertical time. And then what you put into that time are the rhythms. And in order to play rhythms clearly, you have to play in the time. Your vertical time has to be very strong. Because, for instance, with a quarter note, in order for it to be a quarter note, you have to place the notes in the specific grid of this vertical time. Otherwise, it's going to be maybe a little shorter than a quarter note or a little longer than a quarter note. So in order to get the quarter notes to actually be quarter notes, like I'm saying, you have to play right in the center of the time. Like I said, otherwise it's going to be some variation on a quarter note. It's not going to actually be a quarter note. So what I would recommend for anybody that hasn't really spent a lot of time or even any time practicing with a metronome is to practice with a metronome. And you could do it in musical ways. That's what I would recommend, actually. Don't just do it in a way where it's just some boring exercise. And it doesn't take much. You can just pick So my metronome here, which I practice with all the time, you could just put a click on and pick, say, 3 notes, maybe make it like a kind of a lower riff kind of thing. So I'm thinking kind of in E minor pentatonic zone, so like E, B, D, and E. So like, here's just quarter notes, 3, 4. So that's just quarter notes, and you can already hear it start sounding musical. It doesn't just sound like some notes. And that's one of the things that guitar players are very guilty of. I'm sure we're all familiar with this one, walking into a guitar store, hearing a bunch of guitar players just kind of noodling around on the guitar without any real sense of groove. And so, because they're not really thinking about the time. They're not thinking about time maybe at all. They're just thinking about playing notes, usually in a kind of fast way. So yeah, that would be a really good exercise, is just to pick a group of notes from a scale that you're comfortable with, put a metronome on, and try to really listen to where the center of the beat is as you do it. And along with this, it's really important, in order for you to know if you're playing in the center of the beat, is to record yourself onto whatever you have. I use just an old tape recorder that I've had for years, and I also sometimes use my phone. So whatever you have, it doesn't matter, as long as you could just record yourself onto it and listen to it, and really listen objectively to it. Because you might find that as you're practicing something like this, that you're in the moment thinking, oh, my time is really good, this is feeling good. And then you listen back and you're like, wow, I'm really rushing, or I'm really dragging. And those observations are what's going to allow you to make the corrections and start hearing, where the center is, where kind of in front of the beat is, where behind the beat is. And for those that don't maybe know what that means, to play behind or ahead, playing ahead just means that you're playing the note just a little bit before the attack of the click. And playing behind is where you're playing just a little after the click, which are really cool ways to express the time and to play music. But in order to really get control of the time and get control of your rhythms, you want to play in the center for a long time, because then you'll know how to go in front or how to go behind. So those are just quarter notes. Obviously, there's a lot more types of rhythms. There's triplets, and there's eighth notes, and there's 16th notes, there's 32nd notes. But in order to kind of really get things going rhythmically for yourself, I would just recommend starting off with quarter notes and eighth notes, and maybe even whole notes and half notes too. But nothing over the eighth note rate initially, because things get more complex rhythmically when you get beyond that. I'm going to get into later lessons about practicing these more dense rhythmic, just these denser rhythms. But for this lesson, I just wanted to highlight the importance of rhythm and show you a way to practice it. And again, it doesn't take much. I mean, you think about like Led Zeppelin's riff, Heartbreaker. That's quarter notes and eighth notes. It's very, or I guess there is actually, let's see. There is that one moment where there's some 16th notes, but it's mostly quarter notes and eighth notes. And it's just the beginning of the A blues scale. So it's just, they're just playing the notes in order with a slight leap down to the flat 7 of the key. But it's just the notes of the scale, basically in order. And it's one of the most famous guitar riffs of all time. And again, the thing that makes it so powerful and musical is the rhythmic content of it. And, I mentioned groove, which is something I'm going to get more into in some later lessons. But that's obviously a part of it as well. But yeah, so I hope you guys start making this a part of how you think about playing the guitar and practicing. Because, like I'm showing you, it's really what makes notes come to life and it starts making the notes sound musical and something original. And for those of you that haven't subscribed to my channel and you find these lessons helpful, I would very much appreciate it if you would subscribe. And I will be putting out more and more lessons. And I just started a vlog where I'm going to be sharing what's going on with my bands and or with my current trio, and share insights about being an artist and a musician and all that stuff. And I'll continue uploading demonstrations of me playing with and without a metronome, and just kind of showing you how I practice and what I work on and how I play. All right, guys, thanks a lot, and I'll see you in the next lesson.